Hello and welcome to Megamation Direct Line training video. In this video we'll go over the MPC defaults or the default settings for our Direct Line software. From the main menu, click over Administration and MPC Defaults submenu. This opens up the Direct Line System Defaults window, and there are multiple tabs where you can change the settings for the system. On the first General tab, you get the ability to change your date format into any of the formats available, like year, month, day, or day, month, year. You can change the year format to be 2 or 4 digits. You can have a 2-digit or a 3-letter month format, and you can separate out the dates using the separator. And here's an example of the sample date right now. So if we chose another option, the sample date changes accordingly. There's also options for shortcut keys under the menu accelerator keys, where you can choose to use the Windows Standard shortcuts or the MPC DOS shortcuts. There's a section for associated document notification, which allows you to choose if the window title notification is turned on or off, and associated applications for spreadsheet and document viewer are usually set to folders on our Direct Line server and should not be changed. There are buttons for sequential counters. When you click on it, allows you to see the next available work order, inventory, part number, issue number, requisition number, PM procedure number, or receipt number. And if you want to make them start with another sequence, you can change them here and hit the OK button. There is a button that allows you to enable or disable history table transfers. So in the case of having too many work orders on the work order master table, you could set up the work orders transfer to the history table and limit it by using one of these options to just every 6 months or annually, and so on. The same can be done for inventory issues, purchase requisitions, purchase orders, shift logs, employee time cards, or calibration TDRS records. Under the Modules tab, you have a few more settings to schedule PMs based on schedule date, or choose to base it on completion date, or set up an option to choose it per PM entry. For inventory issues, if you wanted the unit pricing to be based on average cost, or unit or voucher cost, that setting is also available in MPC Defaults or Direct Line System Defaults. The ability to print work orders and procedures allows you to set and schedule the prints based on collate or print after options. Once you change it to print after, it allows the procedure to be printed after the work order, and you can choose to print only one copy encountered in the request or as many copies as needed. There is an inventory part number sequential counter, which you can choose to enable by checking on these checkboxes. There's also the ability to calculate your labor rate, and that setting is based on either the work order or the time card. So in this case, you can say that if your time cards collect data for labor information, you can set it to time cards. Otherwise, you can use the work orders to collect your labor data. The same with material source. You can choose if the source will be the work order or the issues. The labor rate can be determined by either the trade rate or the employee rate, and those settings can be set here. Then comes the purchasing tab, where you can set up the ship to and bill to addresses. Choose if you're using a simple requisitioning option or the full package, which allows you to set up purchase orders, vouchering as well. If you're going to use the user login password or a separate purchasing password to approve purchases and to determine the next purchase order number, you can type your number in here. Under miscellaneous options, you get the ability to enable multi-level approval process, which can be applied to requisitions only or requisitions and change orders and releases. You can limit the purchase order generation to user who's set up as a purchasing agent, and you can even enable project vouchering. There's a request for quotation option, which allows you to create a RFQ approval process, and you can bypass approval password for that if you would like to. There's settings for change order method that allow you to update the existing order or replace the existing quantities. There's a release method that allows you to append line items when a requisition is turned into a release. That can be turned on or off. Direct purchases can also be converted on save action or in a batch mode, and you can set up a default blanket purchase order using the Generate button. Options 1 tab allows you to go into the work order approval process and check on if you would like to use the work order approvals process to approve each work order. It also allows you to decide what kind of checklist linking method can be used for preventive maintenance procedures or PM procedures if you would like to link directly the checklists or link through equipment routes, or choose to have them per procedure. Hazardous materials can be set up that users get alerted if there are hazardous materials present using this checkbox. The space management section allows you to set up buildings or set up the default equipment class for buildings and the default equipment class for rooms. There is an option to force the display of PM procedures, so you can select them before you schedule them using the PM scheduler. The Options Page 2 tab has miscellaneous other options with a brief text explaining how to use each section. So the work order emailing section can be based on who submitted the work order based on their employee number. It could email a copy or allow the user to select who to email. You can choose to transmit the work order information as text. The work order list functionality can also be controlled in MPC Defaults based on the following work order status codes to be included when it first runs, and you can change them using the search icon here. There are additional emailing options to transmit attachments as PDF. Specifying building codes on work orders also has a setting, and the equipment hierarchical searches can be set to display results in a hierarchy if needed. The Fleet tab allows you to set up options for the fleet maintenance module, which deals with vehicles specifically. You can set up your unit of measures in miles or kilometers as you wish, and what type of gas it uses, and for fueling can be set to gallon or liter. Those are most of the options available under administration if the user has access to it in Direct Line System Defaults.